What's up, everybody? This is Tomato Sauce Podcast! What? Don't scream.
Well, we got there in the end.
Okay.
Yeah. Hope we surprised you.
If you're deaf now, yeah. It's the Tomato Sauce. No. Sorry, this is Tomato Sauce Podcast, the podcast for Rich Tomato. As you know, Zach, Shane, and myself, Kim, come around this table each week with a topic, discuss it among ourselves. So this week,
We do our best to.
we try. Within the time limit. Zach, this week you're going to talk about...
I was going to talk about the dawn,
Yeah, the dawn,
of
that's
the
the
Planet
one.
of the Apes. Not the rise of the Planet of the Apes. The dawn of the rise of the dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
So our first non-gaming related topic.
Yes.
What a
We're just going to be
milestone.
discussing the movie, what we thought about it, and some particular points.
Milestone
that we thought were pretty
episode
cool.
for the podcast.
You two will be spoiling me throughout the entire thing.
Yeah,
You
pretty
said-
much.
Would you okay,
you only
quickly,
need
would you
to
go see it anyway?
No.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Shane, your
I don't
topic?
see movies anymore. And then my topic would be my dream game. The game that we would watch.
Just his, not ours.
That we would watch.
He's just going to talk about what he wants to do.
No, just like if you guys ever had a dream game that you ever wanted to make or play one day, what would it be?
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
And Kim.
Me, this week, I'll be talking about a classic, or two classic franchises from Sony, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. Should Sony get them back? We'll discuss it later.
Later. After
So-
me.
Yeah, you'll go first.
At some stage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shane,
So,
would you like
Shane,
to
kick it off.
Alright, I'll
Get this-
kickstart this shit show.
Kickstarter?
Kickstart.
Should get a whistle.
World Cup one.
Alright.
820.
Alright, so yeah, as you heard before, my topic is basically if you ever wanted to play your dream game or ever imagine what that'd be like, what would it be like? And, would you make it? Would you want to play it someday? What would it be? You guys want to start first with what you'd be?
This is your topic. Don't you have a dream game that you thought about?
Yeah. It's a great topic, but, you kind of...
Because I got a dream game.
I put down the legwork here. You guys got to, finish the job.
You propped
That
open.
tiny little
You
Lego.
propped it up, and it's like wobbling.
Yeah.
It's like the ramp in Chicken Run. I'm holding it up, and then you...
Well, I guess since Zach's
I
got
haven't
his...
seen that movie in
Some
a
of
very
them.
long time.
I don't know why I referenced that just then, but...
That's fine. But so Zach, I
Movie
guess
cast.
since you have one, would you like to?
Oh, okay.
kick it
Well,
off? So Shane hasn't got one.
I mean,
I think you
well, this is your topic.
Go
Alright,
first.
I'll go first.
This is so unprofessional.
I didn't want to go first because then it would just be like...
Yeah, true.
I don't want to go first because then all the other answers after mine would just be too boring.
Oh.
So
Oh,
I don't want to outshine you guys.
How courteous of you.
Yeah,
Shane.
exactly. But I'll go first if that's what you really want.
Yep.
Alright, so my dream game that I want to make, not necessarily the game that I want to have other people make, is just like a open world RPG. It's sort of like in the vein of maybe Zelda or something like that, where it's sort of top
I think
downish
that's already happened.
and around the place. Yeah, it's definitely not already happened. But I want to
this is
have a
his
go.
one.
I want to have a go at making my own universe and my own world and something that involved just like having that made just personally. It would have sort of like transistor-ish combat, except you wouldn't be taking turns and stuff. It would just be like, haven't you? Okay.
I mean, you could do it. It would be like kind of like Wakfu, where like you
Yeah.
just like sectioned off, made it an instance within the world, and then you just
Yeah, exactly.
lay out
That's
combat
what-
with randomly generated terrain.
Yeah, if you guys don't know Wakfu, it's the Wakfu MMO. It's a French MMO which is based off of I think a comic series to start off with, and then they made a TV series about it. Anyway, great franchise, Wakfu, Dofus, all that sort of stuff, and their combat system,
It's
their
very
MMO
interesting.
is very good.
Very interesting anime.
Yeah. Yeah, it would basically be an open world which I'd craft. I still got a bunch of ideas. I've been writing the different ideas and designs and stuff for years and years before I even got into game design. Just like ideas I've had at the top of my head or dreams or whatever. And that sounds really wanky, and it's probably going to be. But I really want to have a go at auteuring my own world. That's a very technical term for you. Auteur.
Yeah.
But
We're game designers, you see.
yeah, I obviously haven't thought about this too much. It
Clearly.
in terms of mechanics and stuff like that. But that's
Yeah, I was about to ask. Do you have any ideas
you
for the
just
mechanics?
you just got like a basic idea of what
yeah.
you would
I've got a
like.
bunch of tech. Like I've actually made a bunch of demos and stuff of different parts I want to actually have in it. Like you can actually talk to the NPCs and they'll recognize what you're saying and respond in kind.
As in like
Verbal talk,
verbal,
like not just like
communication.
Oh no, actually typing it in. Like as in, what do you want to say? I'll just type in, or maybe click from the list or something. And
Because
then
actually, going along those lines, there is a game coming out not sure if it's already out, but it's basically an entire tech demo on communicating with AI verbally.
That's cool.
So you can actually talk to the NPCs in the game using your own voice, ask them questions, and they will respond to you.
That's cool.
Like an authentic being.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
In the game, and you're like a detective, and you're trying to figure out a mystery.
LA Noir 2.
Yeah, you got to like talk to these robots and try and piece together what's happened by asking them certain questions.
Pretty cool.
But
So,
you could ask them whatever you want to, and they would respond in
Yeah.
a manner that was seemed dynamic and.
if you could imagine that, except they wouldn't have, custom responses and stuff like that, and scaled down to like you're actually typing it in and they're replying to you with like set information, then that's basically my idea for the chat system. I got a little program which basically recognizes keywords from what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm guessing text would need certain keywords for it to respond.
If any of you guys played Morrowind, basically the chat system in that is that you talk to someone and then in that like message box there'll come up certain words will be highlighted, and you can click on those words to ask about that specific thing. So like, I went down to Balmora, there's certain problems here and I have a few little secrets about it. The words Balmora, problems and little secrets will be highlighted, and you click on them and then you can actually get more information out of those little things.
Okay.
So it's like a branching sort of like NPC talk system, which is something I really liked, and something that would probably be similar to what I want to implement.
Cool. So your open world RPG would be very story oriented.
Yeah, definitely.
Extremely narrative based.
Very intricate.
Which is really cool.
A lot of little secrets and stuff.
It's like a really well written story and lots of really interesting,
Yeah.
engaging dialogue.
Like I really just want to. Yeah, that's the whole reason I want to make this, is because I haven't really tried my hand at much story writing before, or much world building outside of very simple backstories to game mechanics and stuff like that. All my sort of games I've made have all been focused on mechanics and making them fun instead of actually having world fluff and context and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I want to have a try at actually making my own world and stuff like that down the track. Obviously, by the way I'm talking about it, I haven't really structured it in any formal way, but it's always been an idea in the back of my head. I've really wanted to get out there.
So is this a dream game you personally want to make, or would you consider like someone actually making this for you?
No, I want to make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you consider other people to help you make it, or just you?
Oh yeah. Like that's fine. It's just like
it's you're starting it.
Yeah, I want to be
your baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Is there a name for your dream game?
No,
Damn.
not yet.
I don't even know one.
Unknown projects.
Unknown origins.
And depending on how we go with in the near future, it might come out sooner than you think.
That's a little teaser.
Yeah, I want to actually start working on it fairly soon, just to get some sort of formal thing going for it.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my idea for something I want to make, something I want to play. I haven't really thought about this too much. But like, if someone else was going to, make a game that I'd ever, my perfect game in my mind, it would. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that, but that's a topic that you guys can answer. If
I assume that the perfect game that you would want to play would be similar to the perfect game that you'd want to make.
Yeah, similar, I guess. But I think it's more the feeling of having something which is inherently yours and putting it out there for people to enjoy is like why I want to make that game. But something I want to play might be different, but I don't really know what it would be.
Yeah.
But that's if you guys can't think of something that you want to make, you can answer that other question. Like what?
Well, I kind of envisioned the question saying like dream game that not personally want to make, but like to play. Or
Yeah.
If you guys have one.
Yeah. Well, I was I had a bit of a chat with a friend of mine, like a couple years ago, because we were. Taylor Smith, we were like roommates and whatever, and we just used to chat all the time about games and things that we would like to see, and
shout-outs.
we started talking about this really cool like huge RTS space kind of game, so a lot of different factions, a lot of planets, a whole universe to explore kind of thing. You go to planets, you'd sort of colonize them.
Yep.
That's the word I'm looking for. And
It's part of our history. Learn it.
yeah, and then like the combat would be really visceral and action based, and lots of destructible environments. So like the whole planet itself would be like one giant destructible environment. So like if
That's
you're
cool.
shelling a specific area, you'd like crater and crater and crater, and you could build it like just destroy a part of the planet to the point where it sort of cracks and separates it from the other part of the planet, and then that completely changes how the planet works, the resources that it gives, and all that sort of a thing. So it could changes the and any action that you do in the game could change something that relies on something else. So it sort of changes the entire economy of what's going on within the world and within the solar system. So it's just like the game that we envisioned was a really, really huge, vast universe with different factions at play. I think the main ones were the Human Empire kind of a thing, which had its circle of influence around the universe, and then you had the rebels to that empire on the outskirts of it, and then you had this sort of alien covenant kind of empire coming in to sort of mess that shit up, and then you've got a bunch of robots which aren't really. I think they weren't really robots. They were more like cyborgs kind of a thing. So sort of a mix between the two, but they were like the third main faction. So like the classic trifecta of human, alien, robot kind of a thing, but it was just we wanted to blow it up on this huge scale of massive amounts of planets and systems and all sorts of things and lots of different resources, and just a really cool combat system where everything was destructible, and you could give like all sorts of actions to the units, like telling them to storm into a building, and then you can actually go in and watch them go through the building and try and take people out and stuff.
Cool.
Maybe even like go in and actually play as one of the people in the squad in the building.
You've kind of taken my
through.
dream idea of like briefly like an RTS, but where you can at some point control the units.
Control someone on the battlefield.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was a game that actually did.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like there's certain sequences and shooters that do that as well. Like,
there's a game.
In some ways, like you control something, and then you would like be part of that team that was being told to go over here or whatever. But like,
There's a game called Mountain Blade, which is similar. It's not an RTS. It's like if you can imagine it's a third-person open world RPG, except it's got army management.
Yeah.
And you and also like sort of like kingdom management as well to a degree. If you become a king and stuff like that. And basically, you're riding around with your army that you're gathering up from the entire land, and you're trying to take over castles. You're trying to form alliances and do trade and stuff like that. That might be similar because you can actually take control of your character in the middle of the army.
Yeah, and just fight your way through and become a legend within your own squad. Yeah. I always thought that was a really cool idea, and
that's good.
We played with that. We discussed that quite a lot, and just blew it out of proportion to the point where it was just like it was
not feasible.
Yeah, it's just not feasible at all. You can't really make something like that in a decent amount of project time, with even with a budget of
somewhat dollars,
a lot of money. It would still. Yeah, it would just be unfeasible. But it's always a game that we would love to.
The question was dream
play.
game. So
Exactly, dream game. Love to play and be a part of that. So,
cool. So I have a couple, like
to make or to play.
Not like want to play. Like, I haven't really thought of a dream game to make. Realistically, I'd make Angry Birds 2 and be like, billions of dollars. But dream games like kind of going off yours, like the RTS first person type feel.
Yeah,
I remember talking like with Arturo and David. We had this dream idea like melding Halo with Halo, like Halo Wars and Halo together. So I mean, like obviously Halo Wars. I don't know if you played it. It's an RTS game from Halo or of Halo. But we're talking about like you set the command to do it, and then you would jump into classic Halo first-person shooting, and that would be awesome-ish, I guess.
Only thing is, like,
at the same time, that kind of deters from, like, if you're setting people to go, like, Halo's always about running and gunning, you know. That's, like, I can understand why that kind of, like...
Plus, like, you know, if you start playing as one of the units on the field, the other thing is that unless, I don't know, unless there's some kind of difficulty balancing, you could end up being the one-man army that Master Chief is and just win every fight that you get into.
Yeah, I think we were thinking, like...
You wouldn't have that dynamic of like, oh shit, I actually lost that battle there, so now I'm gonna have to
like this. I think like story where like you probably wouldn't play as Master Chief, you probably play as
just a grunt,
or whatever.
But like the human input would always be above the AI input.
That's why I kind of thought of like even if you deterred from like your group or you decided just to kill everyone, you kind of get penalised and like you're not participating as a team, like, and it would affect everyone overall. At the same time, we're kind of thinking like it's a co-op game, like one person would do this. I don't know, it was a wacky idea. But I don't know, like going off, like it'd be cool to look like you don't have to necessarily do that first person. Like you can obviously just control everything from the top and see how it all unfolds. I guess that's like an RTS, but then like your first person stuff would be interesting to play with. So I don't know, but that's one rough idea ish based on like a franchise already. Me, like I personally love racing games, and like the whole. As a kid, I think it was either like you wanted to do a couple dream jobs, race car driver, superhero, astronaut probably, potentially.
There was never one for me personally. I never want to go to space.
Space was cool. I can't remember. It's probably not long.
What do you mean you never wanted to go to space?
Has the space not a
what kind of a kid doesn't want to go to space?
Exactly, that's the dream job astronaut.
I don't know where it really comes from. I mean, you're just a kid. You haven't even like explored your backyard yet. You might as well, you know.
Yeah, but like, you know, the unknown up there. You look up and you see the stars, and you're like, wow.
I want to go there and fly around.
I looked up and saw a ceiling. I don't know. When I was a kid, I didn't really want to be an astronaut.
We're going back to like my topic, my dream game. Like I was saying,
well, not necessarily like saying, oh, I'm going to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
But it'd be like
you know that you'd want to go up there and explore and see, you know, be in
part
space,
of that.
but you don't know that exactly that job would be an astronaut. You're not putting that.
I guess so, yeah. But I don't know. I don't think I really had any goals as a kid to be anything other than just who I was.
Fair enough.
Well, going back quickly, but so like I said, race car driver, superhero, and astronaut. Some of those you can play through games. Well, definitely, obviously, racing car driver, superhero, astronaut. Not necessarily an astronaut, but you can go into space.
Yeah.
But like, I wanted to do a racing game where it started.
You're a superhero and an astronaut.
No.
Amazing.
It's probably going to be really boring, but for me, sometimes I love those like minor details in games. Like you tweak this, do that. Yeah. But my racing game would be it's like a proper full-length game where you start from young karting, like go-karts or something, you become like a full-time race driver. I know there's some games that kind of do that.
Yeah.
But
right.
But like it'd be so in depth, like you wouldn't just be like, oh, I do one season of this and I go to like Formula One. It'd be like I do 10 years of this in game.
Yeah.
Of go-karting. Like, oh, I'm nearly good enough to do like V8 supercars or something.
Actually putting in.
That's why I would. That's because I couldn't live the dream of being a race car driver.
That's actually a good point. Like, a very similar idea to something that I had back when I was a kid.
Exactly.
So I thought of a game of life. Where you actually played through an entire lifetime.
See, mine's not.
And I was like, wouldn't that be great? Like you could become whatever you wanted to be. You could go to school.
I guess like
and
Sims
be like
does
a
that.
fuck
Yeah, just
up,
like The
or you
Sims.
could be no, but it'd be like in third person, and you could explore this entire world and do whatever you wanted and be whatever you wanted to be through an entire lifetime from like kid to adulthood.
Quite insane.
So like,
I was like, oh, it's totally doable, right, guys? But no.
So like the racing car, because like as I was saying, it's too late for me now to become a professional race car driver. It's just too late. Realistically, you have to start young, work your way up. Yeah. It'd be too hard to do it now. So like, because I like racing sims, and like, it'd be a racing sim, but like just all this detail, all of this detail.
All
like,
in VR.
No, VR can suck a dick. I don't like VR. I haven't used it yet, but I don't like the idea.
But then you actually be the person you want to be.
You grab the steering wheel. You could do that.
Well, you can do that with your own steering. I have a racing and all that stuff.
I guess so.
But I mean, like, I want it to be like this long drawn out game where you just like you don't obviously start
from the beginning.
Yeah, like you're a young kid, like you finish in Formula 1 or you do all this stuff or whatever, you retire, you start a new game.
No, you retire and then you play the game of retirement.
Oh,
So you
expansion
choose
packs.
your mansion and then you get all your women and then you just chill
you just-
out in the grotto.
No, you just go to a retirement
It's the
home
Playboy
and
Mansion.
try to fight off Alzheimer's.
and fight other elderly for the pills that
Yeah.
are on the table.
So yeah, like the game would be like this in-depth racing, full live racing simulation where you do all that stuff. But that's pipe dreams.
What if you crash during
Like if you
big
that's a good
pro
situation.
race?
If you crash and you like get injured, and you're out for like years, like a year.
Can you die?
Do you actually have to play that year where you're in the hospital just like sitting
I'd say there'd be like a sequence
you
of
got to
things
tap
where
A
you
to
have to.
survive?
There'd be sequences of games where like
yeah,
there'd be a sequence of like mini games in the hospital going, nurse, I need beds.
no. Just pressing that button all the
But,
time.
like, that's-
watching TV.
Like dream, because that was like a dream
Yeah.
job. That's my dream game of like
Yeah.
being able to live that out.
Cool.
So yeah, that's dream games.
Dream games.
Dream games.
What's your dream game?
Put it in the comments below.
If you can,
If you find it, see us in person, tell us, and we'll probably maybe listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not really.
We will make it for you. Guaranteed.
So
Not a guarantee.
what's going on, Zach?
I'm really guaranteed. Yeah, sure, I'll go.
Cool.
So, first segment of non-game related stuff.
We did it, guys. Just for you.
We've moved on. Rise of the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Is that actually what it's called?
AKA Dawn of the Planet of the
It's
Apes.
just Dawn of the Planet of the
Just
Okay.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. But it's getting there.
Go on.
So I went and saw it in cinemas in VMAX, the big screen, which was really, really cool.
Something?
No, it was at Chermside.
Oh, nice.
And I ended up really, really enjoying the film. Just the professionalism and detail of the CGI in that movie
for sure.
is just
For sure, it's awesome.
it's like the apes are real. Man.
Before you go on, should we say minor spoilers possibly in this?
Oh yeah.
Spoilers. If you haven't seen it,
If
skip the topic.
Skip the topic
until you
if,
see
if
it.
you don't.
Skip the
wanna-
topic anyway. It's not very
If you don't want to
interesting.
stay here and listen.
It's gonna be a good one. I like this movie.
But
Skip.
yeah, like Weta did a fantastic job with the motion capture and
so good.
the all the apes just look so good. And, like the individual hairs on their arm and their face, the wrinkles, the eye movements,
Just like how they
everything.
move, just the
Just-
movement.
they just seem so alive. So much more so than like any other live action crossed with digital character
for sure.
movie that I've seen in a very long time.
Cool.
And the interaction because I think I think pretty much all the apes were motion captured by real actors.
Yeah.
So
Real
That's
apes.
I wish. No.
Like with this humans.
They just put apes in a mocap suit,
Yeah.
sent them out there, and we're like, "Yep, we got the."
Isn't that what they did?
No, they got like Andy Serkis and shit.
He
The
did-
guy who played Gollum did Caesar, the main ape, the
And
main
he's done.
big ape.
Caesar. Why
And
is it
he-
called Caesar?
Because
That's his
that's
name.
the name that he was given at the Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
James Franco.
Who gave it to him?
Just James Franco.
I can't believe you haven't seen these movies, Shane. Jesus Christ.
I haven't
Stop
seen any of
asking
them.
questions.
No, but like, how can a ape name himself?
He
No,
didn't
he
name
didn't
himself.
name
Someone named
himself.
him.
Someone
that.
James Franco.
James
Franco's character named him that.
Playing himself.
James Franco played James Franco. No, he played a scientist
Okay.
in that movie that worked at the institution, the organization that was running the tests on the chimps.
I'm surprised they're calling him Caesar. Like, why wouldn't they call him something like Hannibal? Because, Hannibal's the guy who took over Rome, not Caesar.
Yeah, but
Caesar's still a very prominent name within history. Like, still sees like
Caesar was
conquering.
king.
He was Caesar.
Go on with
You got back.
Go on with your the rest of it.
Two blue tape.
Alright, I won't. Alright,
Alright, so the motion capture was great. Andy Serkis was fantastic as Caesar, the main
Awesome
character.
job.
He's essentially the main character of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, he's the real star there.
So that's the perspective of the movie, not like humans trying to survive apes. It's the apes.
Well, here's the thing. This is
Like-
why I think it was a really interesting film. Was because like the film takes place. Do you say like 10,
I think 10 years after the first movie.
The first movie. So at the end of the first movie, you saw the beginnings of the simian flu break out. So the simian flu being a result of all the testing and all that crap that was being done by the corporation. I forget the name of the corporation in the first one. So that starts to spread around the world. People start dying, and everyone blames the apes because, you know, simian flu. The apes are the ones who carry it around and whatnot. So, you know, it's all their fault. Blah blah blah. So they all get angry, but they're all dying off anyway. So there's nothing they can really do. And eventually, humanity starts to die out and crumble, and you know, there's only little pockets of civilization left throughout the world. But the main story takes place in San Francisco.
Yeah, it doesn't San Francisco.
And the forests surrounding San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it's 10 years on, and Caesar and all the other apes have essentially, they started to build civilization of their own. So they've started to make a little village in the woods. They got like their houses, they got their commune, they've got their...
So these are just super smart apes?
Yeah, they're apes that are...
evolved.
Yeah, they're evolving to a much higher intelligence.
In 10 years?
Actually, they started evolving well before that, and like they've gotten to this point in 10 years where they're creating a civilization through the...
Is that part of the virus? They get smart?
I don't know, because in the first one, like, James Franco's character was training Caesar, and Caesar became very aware of everything. He became to be able to talk, like, sign language and respond to, like, questions and stuff. So
he was the first... Caesar was the first ape that began to respond positively to the tests that they were running on the chimps.
Yeah, that's it,
his mother, it, like, passed through his mother into him when he was born, Caesar, that is. And his mother died during birth, and you know, and then James Franco's character kept Caesar and raised him, and you know, became friends with him.
So it's James Franco's fault?
No, it's not James Franco's fault at all.
Side note, but weren't they trying to figure out a cure for Alzheimer's or something?
I think that was it. Yeah, that's it.
Because like James Franco's dad had Alzheimer's.
They were trying to get the tests on his dad, and his, like, it started to work. It seemed like the Alzheimer's was being cured, but then eventually, it broke down even worse, and you know, that's when I think people started kicking the bucket.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Caesar's evolution was a product of those tests for curing Alzheimer's, and eventually Caesar became smart enough to know that the serum and the gas and whatnot that made him smart could be used to make other apes smart. So he started to make all the other apes smart and rise up against the humans that were keeping them in cages and whatnot. So they all broke out, they broke free, there was a big fight on the Golden Gate Bridge, and now, like 10 years later, they're in the forests, they're by themselves, they think all the humans are dead, and they're just they're surviving on their own, they're living their own lives within their own community. So they've built this village in the forest. They've got hierarchy, they know that Caesar is the leader of the pack, they've got hunting, they've got doctors, you know, like doctors, but everyone's got their own little role within the community, and they're all living well together, like, because they all think the humans are dead and they just got to survive now. It's up to them until they run into a bunch of humans that are exploring the forest to try and find I think it's a power plant to keep the power running in San Francisco, because there's apocalypse survivors in San Francisco. So they run into a bunch of humans, and that's when everything changes. They realize that, shit, humans are still alive, they're afraid of us, we're afraid of them, conflict's going to break out if we don't stop this. And the whole movie is about, you know, like, who's going to make the first move here, because humans are sitting there without power, and they need the power to survive. Oh, shit.
That's awkward.
This is terrible.
Do you have to take that?
Yeah.
Come on, Zach. Bit of professionality here.
I think that's a word.
Professionalism. There you go. Got it.
Professionalism.
So who's going to survive from the power?
So, like, well, I've seen the movie as well.
Yeah.
And I think
you can continue.
everything Zach said, the movie is great. Storytelling, acting. He's got to take that. So the story, as the story goes, don't do that. Don't really do that. Okay.
No, go on.
So yeah, the humans are looking for a power supply for San Francisco, and one of them encounters one of the apes, kills them, which which angers like Caesar and everyone else.
Yeah.
So obviously they're very much well aware. Caesar is able to, spoilers again, is able to speak. Not fluid, but he can say words like yes, no, humans. He can say a lot of words that you wouldn't expect, and like this freaks the humans out because like when they discover like they shot an ape, it's like Caesar, like I guess being compassionate because he's been raised by a very good human, like never been treated wrong. He was like, I'll let you leave, but never come back. One of the humans, like I guess the leader of this small group, like there's like 5 of them, I think, saying, we'll leave, we won't come back, but then he needs to come back because they need to try to start this power.
Yeah.
So when they go back to like civilization back in San Francisco, he talks to one of the, I guess the higher ups there, and it's like, he tells them like apes are smart, and the guy doesn't believe him, like no way, fuck off, they're not that smart, they can't be, how can they be, they're animals and stuff like that. But then like you just like, and then they always go in between like both factions, like humans and apes, and you do get the sense of I think how they do it really well, like the way it's told, it's like you really do feel compassion for the apes.
Yeah.
You don't feel like that much compassion for the humans.
You said that the perspective shifts between the apes and the humans.
Yeah.
How are the apes parts done if they can't talk?
Well, they have they speak in ape, but there's like subtitles.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, sorry, but like they speak amongst themselves and like they have subtitles or they sign and stuff like that. And that's obviously put out on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
But like you start to feel, which I think it's like again like it's told so well that you would think maybe the audience would feel compassion for the humans, like because we are humans, we should feel the same. Like we need power, we need stuff like this, but you still start to feel compassion for the apes. It's like they've done nothing wrong. This has happened because of humans doing this to them. This is like coming full circle. Humans have done this to us, so why should we like help them and stuff? But like the human, like they interact and like Caesar obviously being like he's a leader, but try not to spoil too much. But I'll have to get a little bit of
do it as much as you want.
Yeah. Caesar's right hand man, I guess Kobo, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
He was an ape that was poorly mistreated as when he was being tested on. He's got like scars and he's obviously he's angry. He says it himself. He's like humans can't be trusted and stuff like this. He betrays Caesar to take control of the apes. At doing this because the apes started helping, like Caesar's obviously help has let the humans work on this water power plant to get electricity running for San Francisco. Yeah. He's let them do this because under his careful watch, like you can only do this. You're not allowed to hurt. No guns. You can't bring guns with you. Yeah. All this stuff and you just go like, yeah, Caesar, you can tell us what to do. Like Caesar's in control, but he's like I guess on the evolutionary scale, like why is the ape in control when humans shouldn't be? Like humans should be or whatever. So that happens. Like the hierarchy changes. Like Kobo takes control. Kobo attacks San Francisco. Brings all these apes. A lot of them die.
Okay.
They learn how to use guns.
Oh, they learn.
They I'm trying not to spoil too much, but they figure out how to use guns. They try to kill as many humans as possible. I'm not sure. I can't remember how many do die, but like you see quite a bit of I mean, they're not real apes, but you see a few of them die off, and and just like, and towards the end, like Caesar needs the help of. They find Caesar, like Kobo sets up the humans to seem like they've killed Caesar. Like, so the Kobo shoots a gun at Caesar, and then like no one sees him do this, obviously, and Kobo comes like, oh, I found a gun, someone shot him with this, and then obviously he starts to run away, and so it's like it's very well told, like I guess. A betrayal story that's very basic, I guess. It's like trickery in like this way.
I wonder if that's a reference to his name, to Caesar's name.
Does that happen to Caesar? Like he gets
the actual Caesar. Yeah, he was betrayed by his son, wasn't he?
Not too sure.
Brutus, remember? You didn't take your history lessons.
Well, I remember reading about Caesar.
I don't know if it's a direct reference because it's.
No, I guess it can make. There's obviously connections to it. Like obviously the name makes a lot of connections to it, but all that happens, and like by the end of it, there's this power struggle. Obviously, Cobra versus Caesar. No,
Oh, Caesar, okay.
Cobra versus Caesar. Caesar.
Apologies.
Sorry?
Apologies.
That's all right, man. You gotta take it.
Yeah.
I've kind of just broken down the story a bit, but like we're up to like where Caesar and Cobra. Is it Kobo? Is that his name? Kobo?
Kobo, yeah.
Yeah. I've something like they have a power struggle. Caesar ends up winning.
Yeah.
In the end, like now the human by the end, like the apes are inhabiting the city now.
Yeah.
For a majority of them anyway, and like I can't remember what he says at the end, but
basically what I wanted to say is I like how they made Koba the one to make the move first and incite the violence.
Yeah, that was
between the two.
You could see that coming.
The two
though, like,
factions, because like it could have easily have been the whole, humans are bad. Humans had a chance for peace, and then they went ahead and were like, kill the apes because they're evil. Blah blah blah.
But it's really
pitchforks,
the
torches,
apes
sort of
that
thing.
start everything.
But it's the apes that start the violence. The apes that start the.
I was saying,
the,
like what you're going like. They do
discord
it's a very good job. The storytelling does a good job of like you have compassion for the apes.
Showing both sides.
Yeah, like
You have compassion for both sides.
But like at times I'm just like, man, the apes have it hard. Like well, the power struggle between like Kobo and Caesar. Like Caesar has a lot to look at to like make everything work. It's like he wants the humans to do their thing without distracting them, and I don't know. It's just such an interesting movie to watch and like see how everything unfolds.
Yeah.
I think like
it's a really cool period in the time of the Planet of the Apes to be witnessing the sort of that last little struggle between the rest of humanity and the rising power of the apes, and just seeing them. These are both factions just trying to survive in their own way in the world, and now that they're sort of butting heads in territory, what's going to happen there? Can peace be achieved? Can they live simultaneously with each other? Can they live side by side and help each other, or do they end up
killing each other
and one side winning? And that
by the end of it, it's kind of like a bit of both, I guess, because like quite a few apes die in that whole struggle. I'm not sure how many humans die. I'm sure there's a few, but like, you don't see. You can see one or two like major ones, like Jim Gordon. That's what I call him, because I don't know. That's what he was though in the movie. But like, I mean, no, he wasn't Jim Gordon. Like the actor that plays Jim Gordon in the movie.
What's Jim Gordon from?
Batman.
Oh, okay.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, I know that.
Gordon.
Commish.
But I just think it's like the writing for the apes, I guess, is probably the best part of that movie. Like some of the human interactions is kind of like so.
Yes, a few of the humans are quite one-dimensional.
Well, like the typical guy that just like, I don't trust anyone.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, nah, fuck the apes. They're just they brought this upon us. The simian flus therefore blah blah blah. I'm sick of my fucking ideology, so you can't change me at all.
Yeah, like I think the whole just a struggle I think between, and then like there's also the touching moments where like Caesar going back to that house and like having to get healthy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the movie is amazing.
Yeah.
I think
overall a very enjoyable and interesting film.
Yeah, I think it's one of the better movies I've seen this year.
Yeah.
Storytelling is amazing. I think people probably like. I know some people.
The visuals are amazing.
Oh, the CG's like the one closing shot. They zoom right in on Caesar's face, and for a split second, I know it's CG, but you just go, that looks so fucking real. It looks so good, and like I can't. I'm guessing there's gonna be a third one, whatever it will be. But I mean, I just think like some of my friends from the outside are like, oh, it looks silly. It's just about monks. Like, no, it's a in-depth. It's a very deep story. Like about really. You could apply anyone to that. You could put like a race to the apes or something else, and it'd be like the same story. But like I think telling it from that perspective with the apes is like it's made so much sense. It works, obviously with the franchise and stuff like that. I think it's very well told, looks amazing, Pacing was good. I think there was not really many dips in pace. I think the pacing was very good overall. Maybe the time they spend like getting him healthy and like that little sequence was a bit maybe tedious. I guess maybe I don't know. But
I think mostly it was
it
was
great movie. Highly recommend people go see it before it's out of cinemas. Like I'd probably give it like at least a 4 out of 5. It's
and you
9 out of 10. It's an
I'd
awesome
say
movie.
I'd probably say 4.5.
It's such a good movie. Like it's.
I'd say 2.5.
And also think like quickly before we like.
So harsh.
But like there's certain movies that are really good that you don't perceive how much time has passed.
Yeah.
You just know that time has passed, but you haven't seen like.
You're just so invested.
Yeah, so invested in that
what's going on
story, the
that
screen.
You,
Like
you
you
don't worry about.
Yeah, and it's one of those movies that you watch and you just go, "Wow, that was an awesome experience." For I think it's 2 hours or whatever it is, 2.5 hours. So good. It's just so good. Shane, you should watch both those, the new ones.
I
If
disagree.
you can give a fuck.
I just okay. If I'm gonna be in the position to watch that, I'll watch that. But I don't really watch many movies these days. So I mean, the last movie I watched was The Raid 2, and I fucking love that.
I still haven't seen The Raid 2.
Oh, get on it.
What's the Raid 2 as well?
Yeah, I review that movie right now. Good. 4 out of 5.
Brilliant.
Cool. Like I think
Yep.
there will be a topic one day. I think we can discuss movies in general. Like I have a couple ideas about movies, but that'll be for another day.
Yeah.
So I'll start with my topic. As I said before, I'm talking about bringing it back to games. The core of what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
Recently, Andrew House, I think he's president of Sony or PlayStation.
He's pretty high up. CEO.
Yeah,
CEO of PlayStation, I think, or Sony. But he recently got interviewed saying he got asked about Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, and he said bluntly, the chance to make them is not dead. We could still chances to make Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. If you didn't know, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro were mainstays of the PlayStation family, I guess. PlayStation 1, they both had trilogies on the console on PlayStation 1. There was Crash 1, 2, 3, and there was CTR Crashing Racing. And then Spyro had the first 3 games as well. Both the studios that made those games are Sony exclusive studios, Naughty Dog making Crash Bandicoot and Insomniac. Oh no, Insomniac aren't exclusive.
They started. Insomniac
They
did
were.
the first.
They were Insomniac. Now Insomniac's stepped out and like branched out and stuff.
They got their Xbox One game.
Yeah,
Sunset
Overdrive.
Yeah.
But like they were big PlayStation franchises, and really like Crash Bandicoot was like the Mario of PlayStation, I guess. Like he was the mascot, in a way. And then PS2 era came around. Naughty Dog decided to move on to new things. So did Insomniac, I think. They worked on Ratchet and Clank.
So Naughty Dog went to the Jack and Daxter series
Yeah.
for the PS2.
Yep. And
Insomniac
went on
Ratchet and
Ratchet and
Ratchet and Clank.
So they both moved on from these franchises, and I think at that time Activision bought both Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. They bought the names to it and something like that.
Who was the developer of like Spyro 2 and 3?
Developer, like on PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
They were all Insomniac games.
Pretty sure.
I thought only the first one was
I'm
Insomniac.
pretty sure they were.
Oh, okay. That's pretty interesting.
Insomniac were.
Because we know a guy who worked on Spyro 2. He was the main character designer and balance.
I'd say it was all Insomniac. If not, like, they were all like...
Who's
Rob. No, hang on. Don Meadows.
Oh, Don.
No, he worked on a different Spyro game. That wasn't...
No, that was
really?
that wasn't Spyro 2.
That wasn't
Spyro
OG's.
way
That's what we're getting into.
Oh, really?
This is what I'm getting into.
That
Like,
was Spyro, yeah. Was it like...
Enter the Dragon
No,
or something?
Eternal Night or something
Yeah,
like that?
that's
I think it was...
Oh, really?
So I mean, I'm going
It's like
into
a
it like...
Spyro down the line.
Okay.
But like, I mean, so Activision got the rights to both those franchises, and realistically, they ran them into the ground.
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot was never the same. Spyro was never the same on PS2.
I played the most recent Crash Bandicoot.
Did you?
and-
Is that Clash of the Titans? Is that Clash of the Titans?
Crash of the
Crash of the Titans.
Crash of the Titans.
Is it?
So like, I
It
mean,
made me
Sony.
shit my own pants.
Is that you got visibly angry at the game?
More than usual.
More than usual.
So like,
Instead of just the nugget,
Yeah.
I got the whole fucking...
that's enough. when we eventually just to be random
Gold
topics,
mine.
I want to talk about pulling out pants in another topic. But I mean,
Another topic. Another time.
so like going on Activision at the moment owns
Be a good topic.
I think so. It'd be in depth. I think at the moment Activision own both Crash and Spyro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crash hasn't been around since I think the last game. There has been no Crash Bandicoot anywhere. Spyro has
Pretty good
appeared in Spyro Skylanders, which was the first iteration of Skylanders back in 2010.
And then recently he was just like phased out, wasn't he, from Skylanders?
Well, like Skylanders,
Yeah, now
like,
it's just like a bunch of random.
Skylanders is
features.
just, which is Skylanders selling gangbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not like Skylanders. I haven't
So
played
they-
it. I have no idea. I have no intention of playing. But Skylanders is selling bulk money.
Yeah.
So basically they just
Well,
use the
making
Spyro
money.
IP to
Sell
get
it.
it
They
out
launched
there.
that. Like they launched that first. I'm like, oh, it's Spyro connected. It must have to do with obviously Spyro connected. Like, oh, but then realistically by the now it's like Skylanders. It doesn't really matter.
Skylanders. Spyro.
I think the first one was Spyro's Adventure or something.
Who's that marketed to? Like what? Yeah, actually.
Oh,
Oh,
kids.
it's
It's
kids.
like Disney
3 to 7,
Infinity.
isn't it?
Something like that.
Oh.
Well, the fact that they have
Toys.
figurines and action figures
Yeah.
to go with the game
Yeah.
says it all. Really.
I think I
There's
and I don't
demographic right there.
I don't hate
Six-
Skylanders as a concept. I think it's a
No,
good
no,
thing.
it's a cool concept. Like putting a toy on a thing that
on a
puts it.
portal and it goes.
It puts it in the game. Like that's kind of like what
They're very
kids-
smart to actually get into that niche of
Oh,
that
like
age
and
group.
we talked about it in E3. Like
Yeah.
Nintendo with their Amiibo thing.
Yeah.
Those figurines look awesome. I would buy some of those, but I wouldn't play Nintendo Wii.
And
Yeah.
Disney Infinity also.
Yeah, Disney Infinity. That's the same.
Yeah.
They're cool figures. Like I would say the Disney Infinity when the release images of the Amiibos, they actually look pretty cool. Like some of the figurines actually look cool. Like I wouldn't mind just having a shelf for like Mario and all that stuff.
They're $30.
Are they really $30
Yeah,
each? Ooh,
and they're
no,
only like
maybe
that
not.
big.
That's pretty big.
Not really. Not $30. I bought.
Well, like
a-
so if they have,
That's a fairly sizable.
well, I don't.
It feels like yay.
If they're obviously like they're obviously good
yeah.
quality made as well. They're not
That,
like
though,
cheap.
like,
like-
that's alright.
that's not too bad.
I can buy.
You can
That's
pay
like-
more for like ones without articulation and stuff like they can't move at all. These don't move at all either. I don't know if it is.
Last year I bought a fully articulated, that tall Samus figure. It was like limited edition or some shit for $40
From where though?
from Japan, and that included the delivery price.
That's Japan, where they make it like for dirt, no money.
Yeah,
And
but
like,
if you're looking at this thing, it's like that
Dirt,
big.
no money.
It's
They
like
go
30
cheap.
$30 something that big. It doesn't articulate at all. It's just got a little chip in it. Then that's the.
but they
Yeah,
look cool
well,
though.
I mean, sure.
yeah,
course.
Some of them
you can
look
buy something
cool.
that looks cool that you could also move
But,
around. and
okay, like you
articulate.
say, you got a doll with an action figure. Sorry,
A doll.
Sorry.
No.
That with points of articulation.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times have you actually played around and actually moved anything?
It's still in the box.
Exactly. So it doesn't fucking matter.
It was a gift. but,
So going back
yeah.
to Spyro and Crash, like Andrew House saying, we could still make these games.
It's
I
a
want
possibility.
It's a possible. I want to ask you guys: should they, and who should make them?
Yes, and they should be given back to the original devs.
That'd be cool.
I totally disagree with half of what you said.
Oh, really?
I think, or maybe 3/4. I don't think Spyro should come back. No, Spyro's
Really?
no.
You think Spyro's dead?
I think Spyro's dead. They tied him to Skylanders. No one remembers him anymore. Crash is like got a cult with PlayStation fans. Like you know,
Yeah, that Crash needs to come back.
Crash should come back. I think
Crash should make a big comeback if he did come back and went back to his roots. And
if they did like an
proper,
like a game did in like done
great
in like
platformer.
whatever engine, a classic platformer.
Only thing is that like that game type in today's
It doesn't play well.
yeah like we have all this power with these consoles now
Yeah.
to do all sorts of things with the environment and the engine and interactions with the AI and stuff.
Yep.
If you go back to like a regular old school platform,
Linear platform, yeah.
where it's just linear, there's like limited to no interactions with the environment other than what's down that corridor with the boxes and whatnot. And the enemies are just standing in on particular platforms, so you just have to spin.
So
them.
like that's another thing. Like so like I fully understand like Spyro.
going
again,
backwards is
I know the thing's like, but do you go backwards to like that type of game? But do you just bring Crash back somehow? Like into like there's a lot of I remember reading a lot of people. You remember the PlayStation Fighter, PlayStation Battle Stars, or
Yeah,
All
All-Stars.
Stars Battle Royale. They wanted Crash in that,
Yeah.
yeah.
which would have made a lot of sense. It's a PlayStation fighting game. One of the most iconic figures in PlayStation history isn't in your game.
Yeah.
Just because Activision weren't going to be like, we'll let you use it.
Yeah.
They probably would have. I don't think Sony were willing for that game to pay that much to get Crash
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
game. But I think Crash should come back. Spyro, no. they shouldn't go back to the original devs because Naughty Dog and Insomniac have moved on.
Yeah.
And it's that thing where you're saying, should they go back? I don't think Naughty Dog want to go back to doing a 2D platform.
I don't think
well, not
Insomniac's-
3D platform, but I mean like a traditional platformer where they've got Uncharted, The Last of Us, like whatever else. Right? I mean, there's obviously roots in those games.
They've evolved from that platform style to other.
They still do platforming, but like it's such more. It's obviously
It's a lot different.
It's a lot different to what
days.
Crash Bandicoot. Like
Yeah.
Spyro, I don't think that was a platformer like as well. But like obviously you had Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Dax for the both. Like I think they've all evolved beyond the point where like they shouldn't be doing it. I don't think. I just don't think Insomniac and Naughty Dog should invest any time into those games. Someone else should do them. Some like
who would you say
like a Sony
should
like
do
some
Crash Bandicoot reboot?
I can't remember the studio's name, but they worked on.
We actually have Nintendo brought them out.
I can't remember. I think they did like Puppeteer. I think they worked on Knack.
Oh yeah.
Whatever that like part of
Puppeteer's really cool.
Studio Japan. I think it did that or like looked over that. Someone like it has to be. I think it should be an internal Sony studio, but shouldn't be like.
Studio Japan might be actually a pretty good.
You know what I mean? Like they could do Crash, and it doesn't have to be a full retail game. It can be like a $20 download. They crash back out. They put on the Vita. For God's sake, the Vita needs games. No, it doesn't actually. That's a lot of games, but
Needs better games.
like Crash, I think would be an awesome thing, like to kind of launch the Vita again, or like get people like. I would probably, if there was a new Crash game, I'd probably try it at least.
Yeah,
anyway.
I'd give it a go.
So like, I just don't. I think Spyro, no, Crash more than Spyro, and they shouldn't go to the main publishers.
I disagree with that, but only on one count. I think Insomniac has still got that in their repertoire. I think Insomniac can still make great platforming games and great sort of like games like that. And I don't think the core gameplay between the Spyro games they used to make and Ratchet and Clank is all that different.
No,
and they only released their last Ratchet and Clank game a year ago?
Into the Nexus,
and that was one of the better ones they've ever made in the Ratchet and Clank series.
Yeah.
If they made a Spyro remake in HD in that sort of like space, they could do it. Naughty Dog, I think, has moved on. I think Naughty Dog wouldn't be able to go.
I feel like Insomniac's on the verge of moving because with Sunset Overdrive, it's nowhere near anything like they've ever done. Oh, and actually, it's very Ratchet and Clank, I guess.
It is very. It's still got the same sort of theme. It's got grinding on rails. It's got all that sort of stuff as well.
Wacky guns.
Yeah.
True.
Wacky.
So it's still very close to that. And like you can also argue that you can't really go that far off track if they made Resistance 1, 2, and 3 and still came back and made a great Ratchet and Clank game.
True.
Like I don't think that going out of style in that sort of style is something that they can do. Mm-hmm. I think that they'll always have that sort of mentality and that sort of like design sense to always make great, fun Spyro or Ratchet sort of games. I think that Spyro coming back to Insomniac could work very well. But I'm an Insomniac fanboy, so what do I know?
That means Insomniac will have to buy it though, not Sony helping them buy it. Because
Sony could buy it and then contract it to them.
But I just don't think Insomniac will want to do Spyro.
I don't know. They
Like, what do you think? Like, should they both come back at all?
Having that stigma around it though, where it's like it's been however long since the last Spyro game,
Like a legitimate Spyro
and
game
now
for
it's
a long
coming
time,
back to its original developer who knows Spyro the best, who know how to deliver a great Spyro experience.
Sure.
And like, can you imagine the hype around that?
Yeah.
Especially
it makes
from
sense.
people
Yeah.
who really, really enjoyed all of the Insomniac Spyro games.
And they made all the good Spyro games, all the true to the original.
Well, they did the
Spyro
first
games.
3 on the PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you give it
And
to
there's
anyone
so
else,
much more they could do with Spyro with the next gen consoles now, like
Obviously,
a lot more interaction with the environment, a lot more upgrade in graphics and visuals, and all sorts of places that you can visit. I think it could be really cool. It could be done really well.
If you think about it,
Insomniac could do a really good job.
Exactly. If you think about it like this, if you give it to Insomniac, they're going to draw on their past experience to make this game great. If you give it to any other developer, they're going to think, oh, what do people want out of a Spyro game? Let's look at the entire category, like the entire library of Spyro games, and half of them, if not most of them, are shit. So, you don't want that happening. You want the original devs to think, oh, this is what we did with Spyro. This is why it was so successful and why, people loved it so much. We're going to go back to our roots.
Going on, like, I guess why that type of platform in Ratchet and Clank that it kind of exists now, but like, do you think, like you were saying before, like, a game like Crash Bandicoot probably could not be as good as it used to be. Like, I just don't know if that could exist again.
Unless Naughty Dog did a Insomniac and split off into two companies, into two sections.
I just don't see that happening.
I just don't see Naughty Dog doing it.
I think Naughty Dog's truly moved on.
Yeah, Naughty Dog's on there. Speaking of which, though, perfect segue. Developers going back to their roots. Did you read about the Doom reveal at QuakeCon?
I heard about it.
I think it was yesterday.
Really read into it,
id revealed their newest Doom, just titled Doom.
Yeah.
I think they're looking for the reboot kind of thing.
Was that the one that were giving beta keys to?
Through Wolfenstein, and like no one was allowed to record any of. I think
So
it was
they
like a
showed gameplay of the
15.
game.
Yeah, it was like a 15-minute gameplay demo that they showed off, and apparently it fucking rocked.
Awesome.
And like it's old school Doom, throwing you back into hell, demons all over the place, and like throwing back all the iconic weapons like the double-barreled shotgun, chainsaw, all that shit, and no regenerating health. You have to pick up health packs if you wanna get your health back.
Good.
All the old school enemies are going to be there, the revenants, all that stuff, and apparently it's all running on their new engine, the Tech 6, I believe. Which I'm not sure if that was the same engine that Wolfenstein running, or if I think it might be slightly upgraded somewhere. But I think it's going to be quite similar to what Wolfenstein was running in.
Sweet.
But yeah, that's id going back to their roots with the newest Doom, and apparently it looks really, really, really good.
Sweet.
I guess with the Crash Spyro, we've kind of wrapped up with. We've got our opinions on what we want in that.
Yeah.
Quickly though, we've got a couple of minutes to spare. Have you seen the stuff with Crytek now? How they're pretty much. Like we've reported a couple of weeks ago, saying like they were looking in trouble.
Oh yeah, how's it going?
Yeah.
Now they're really in trouble.
Really?
Yeah.
Like one of the head designer or something left the team for Homefront, which I didn't want to.
Yeah, Homefront is looking a little
very bleak.
Yeah.
A lot of
scary.
a lot of people have actually left. I think more people have left in Crytek over in.
Damn.
So like they haven't been looking like picking up like.
Do they own the Cry engine as in like be able to sell that and rent that?
But apparently that's not been selling very well. It's a really sustained business for them to like this because there's
They've been
obviously
trying the subscription thing.
because there's
on the
UDK
phones.
and there's Unity's free. Like
Yeah.
they're really in a tight place. Like obviously UDK's been used for years on so many games. Unity's coming now for more indie stuff and it's like where's Crytek gonna fit themselves in? Like you can make pretty stuff, but like if no one's paying whatever it is per month, they can't sustain a business.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going into get a game engine and you're looking to get a shooter, you're going to go to UDK because that's tried and tested, and you've got so much support and documentation and shit like that, and proved results. But with Crytek, you're aiming at a very niche audience. I think.
Thinking about it, like games that have come out using the Cry engine. I mean, like third-party games, not games that Crytek have done. Not many of them have been very successful.
Rise.
No, I don't mean like Crytek and Turbo games. I mean third-party games that use the Cry engine. Think about Sniper.
Sniper
Ghost
Elite.
Warrior. Not Sniper Elite, Sniper Ghost Warrior.
Okay. They use
it was a very similar game where you were a sniper. You went into like a sort of sandbox-ish location. Actually, the first ones were like
linear.
And then it had like the sniping, the slow motion cameras, but no X-ray.
So that's a Sniper Elite.
So that one, never really sold that well. I can't really think of.
Is there many that have not been like Crytek? Really?
This is what I mean. Like, is CryEngine being used by third-party studios? I can't really think of many CryEngine games that have been quite successful in the market.
Did Far Cry 2 use it? By that time, they were owned by Ubisoft, weren't they? Far Cry 2.
Far Cry 2, no. It's using its own engine.
Yeah, Far Cry 2 didn't.
Well, like the first Far Cry used was Crytek.
Was it?
I think so.
That was ages ago. That was PS2 era. Wasn't it? I think you're the wrong Cry. I mean, no.
Well, I'm just thinking as franchise Far Cry wasn't owned by Ubisoft straight away. Like it was owned by, I think.
I don't remember.
I don't know. But I mean, yeah, like Crytek are hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
Like their CryEngine is not selling. I can understand why. Like who would want to no, I don't know what language and stuff like. There's people who experience the UDK. Unity is easily tons of information on how to make games in that. Go to Quantum. But like, yeah, CryEngine's failing. It's affecting games like Homefront. I didn't want. I wanted to play that game. But there's been talk that potentially Deep Silver might put money from their own pocket to help this project out. But
Oh yeah.
will that mean does the game? How much does the game change? And stuff like that. And I read or heard.
What's Deep Silver made again?
Well, they published
Dead Island.
Dead Island 1 and 2.
Well, two's not out yet, but I think that
No, Dead Island 2, though. Oh, Riptide, sorry.
Riptide.
Yeah, and then they
also
bought the rights to Saints Row. They own Saints Row now. They did the fourth one.
I think they also published Call of Juarez.
Okay.
Oh, did they buy that as part of the THQ? Was that part of the THQ?
I think so.
But
It was always
Part of the story is that Crytek is not doing well.
no,
Yeah.
like it's a bit of follow-up news from weeks past. But
Yeah, it's a shame.
yeah,
It's always sad to see
Unfortunate
developers
times.
go under.
Yeah, especially ones as large as Crytek.
quickly just on Homefront, I read that what they showed at E3 was purely a vertical slice. That was nothing the game would represent. So,
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how far the game is.
Really?
Apparently, I read that or watched or something like that game was purely vertical slice, which is a shame.
Yeah.
That's it for another week on the Tomato Sports podcast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
3 guys, 3 topics. Sometimes more topics with 3 guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3.5 topics.
Sometimes 2 guys, 1
Two guys,
podcast.
one guy on the phone,
Yeah.
and 2 guys.
Any sort of,
picking up that guy's topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So remember, every week you can find us here at youtube.com/therichtomato. What was that?
Oh, just, Zach was being unfunny. I was laughing at him.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
But on that note, thanks for watching.
Bye.
Let's go back to sleep.
Back to bed.
I'm joking, Zach.
You're not.
He's not though.